welcome to Money Matters. Hong Kong's economy is improving after a 1.5-year-long pandemic, and companies are hiring again. The unemployment rate dropped to 5.5% after reaching a high of 7.2% in February. Zella Chin reports on what sectors are hiring and how employers are enticing job seekers.
Government job fair in Mong Kok. 40 employers are trying to fill 1,800 vacancies, but they're finding it difficult to find the right people. The Recruitment Expo has opportunities in property management, logistics, and food and beverage. Salaries range from $10,000 to $20,000 per month. This retired man wants to get back into the workforce, and he's applying for part-time security guard jobs.
The most ideal time for me is during the day, no doubt.
Which district?
Tsim Kwan O. It's because I live there myself.
This homemaker is looking for retail sales work.
My child just finished Form 3, so I now have time to find a job. I want to re-enter the job market.
Idris Marker is one of the recruiters at the fair. He works for a company that manages 1,500 security guards. He needs to fill 15 full-time and part-time positions. Pay is about $50 per hour.
We're trying to looking for some have their heart on their work, mostly good at customer service skills.
He had a much easier time hiring last year, and he even had applicants from other industries.
Because most of them lost their jobs due to the COVID-19. Most of them cannot to work on their original like travel agencies and food and beverage.
And now, with the economy picking up, he's losing staff.
Because the turnover is quite high. Because when you try to have two times of vaccine, you can go back to your old jobs.
He's offering up to 5% more in salary this year to attract job seekers. This economist at an investment bank says Hong Kong's employment situation improved because of the relaxation of the government's social distancing restrictions and more investment.
The construction sectors has kind of leading the recovery in the rising employment, in part because this sector have relatively shorter unemployment duration, and also the retail sales sectors and as well as like some accommodation food services sectors are also increased the employment by like 10,000 from March to May.
Ken Choi is recruiting at the jobs fair for the first time. He is responsible for hiring sales staff at a life insurance company. It started in 2019 and has grown to 80 employees. He needs to hire 10 full-time insurance specialists. They sell financial products and manage the existing policies.
The ideal candidate would be someone who has had 2 or 3 years in the financial services industry and has basic knowledge of the various financial products and of financial solutions, various financial solutions. But we recruit people from all walks of life.
Kent says the company had many applicants in 2020, but in the past few months, it's become more difficult to hire new recruits.
We feel that some of the major financial institutions are back to hiring mode, as previously a lot of them have frozen a lot of positions. So in that respect, the job market is getting more intense. The competition is getting tougher.
To compete with other financial services companies, Ken offers 10 to 20% higher salary compared with last year. Jason Chung joined Kent's insurance company 3 months ago. He's been trained to approach potential customers on the street.
Maybe a little old lady. They feel it's so hot on the street. Then they would like to come in. I will show her for maybe some air condition, the cool water. After that time, after we build up the relationship, we need to sell her the product.
Jason spent 10 years as a garment merchandiser. but his previous company shut down during the pandemic. He decided to change to the finance industry because of its growth potential. He makes $20,000 a month in basic salary plus commission. And with the support of his colleagues, he's met the monthly sales target in 2 weeks.
We provide training for those newcomers who join to understand more about the company, understand more about the products, but more importantly, to build their soft skills and how you handle and interact with customers.
The insurance company plans to continue its hiring spree in anticipation of the borders with the mainland reopening and visitors coming from the north.
Historically, the insurance industry has a sizable proportion of its sales from visitors abroad, given their confidence in the insurance system in Hong Kong, the confidence in the regulator. They decide to come to Hong Kong and purchase a policy here.
Right now, Ting Ting predicts Hong Kong's full year 2021 GDP will grow by 7.2% year on year. If the Hong Kong borders reopen and inbound tourists spend in the city, then GDP will grow even further.
If we have like the more solid recovery in the domestic consumption, and then we'll see that the overall GDP growth will also improve, that will motivate the more companies to expand business and also open more jobs.
Nick Marsh runs an executive search firm in Causeway Bay. He helps clients to hire for C-suite positions in insurance, banking, consumer goods, technology, manufacturing, and professional services across the Asia-Pacific region. Like many, his business took a hit at the beginning of the pandemic, but recruiting started to pick up again in the second half of last year. And his business is performing even better this year.
Companies are coming out of that lockdown mentality, not just to try and recover the ground that they would have lost, but also to try and put themselves back onto a long-term strategic track.
He says nowadays companies are actively looking for people with experience in digital transformation.
Executives and boards are looking for people who are working through transformation and change programs. And probably more excitingly is the digitization journey that all companies have been on, but I think COVID has accelerated the need to engage with their consumers, their customers, through digital channels.
Nick says employers are paying 15% more than 18 months ago to attract candidates, but travel restrictions have made it more difficult to hire from abroad.
The whole of Asia, including Hong Kong, is at the moment having challenges around attracting people into the region because of COVID, because of the lack of flights. You know, people can't easily move in and out of Hong Kong and Singapore and Australia and Southeast Asia with any degree of ease.
And as Hong Kong emerges from the pandemic, recruiters say it remains to be seen whether compensation and benefits will continue to increase to attract workers out from their COVID isolation.
Blue Origin's new Shepard launch vehicle prepares for blastoff with Jeff Bezos, the world's richest man, on board. The 57-year-old American billionaire was joined by 3 crewmates for the trip to the edge of space, lasting about 10 minutes and 20 seconds. The trip put Bezos back in the game after billionaire Richard Branson beat him to space by 9 days. But the billionaire bragathon is still alive. Branson may have been first, but the Amazon founder soared 107 kilometers above the Texas desert, 11 kilometers higher than his Virgin Atlantic rival, who climbed to 86 kilometers before returning back to Earth in New Mexico. New Shepard was designed to hurtle at speeds of 3,540 kilometers per hour to an altitude reaching 100 kilometers. The flights have shown the potential and viability of the nascent space tourism business. The trip also made history. The rest of the crew were Bezos' brother Mark, pioneering female aviator Wally Funk, 82, and recent high school graduate Oliver Damon, 18. They became the oldest and youngest people to reach space. Bezos founded Blue Origin 2 decades ago. This was the company's first flight to space with passengers on board in what experts called the world's first unpiloted space flight with an all-civilian crew. The flight coincides with the anniversary of American Neil Armstrong and Edwin Buzz Aldrin becoming the first humans to walk on the moon in 1969. New Shepard is named for Alan Shepard, who became the first American in space 8 years earlier.
The zero-G piece may have been one of the biggest surprises because it felt so normal. It felt so almost like we were, as humans, evolved to be in that environment, which I know is impossible, but it felt so serene and peaceful, and the floating. It's actually much nicer than being in full one gravity.
The reusable Blue Origin booster had flown twice before, also landed in one piece. Blue Origin aims for the first of 2 more passenger flights this year to happen in September or October. Get out the checkbook. A flight will cost you about $200,000 US.
When Money Matters returns, the pleasures of beachside living in Sai Kung's oldest area. Stay with us. Welcome back to Money Matters. A resort holiday seems like a distant dream these days, but homeowners in Sai Kung's Clearwater Bay area have created what many would say is the same thing. Reporter Alice Kahn visited a designer beachfront house that offers privacy and a 10-second walk to the beach.
Shung Si Wan is a paradise for water sports on the shores of Lobster Bay. On the weekends, people crowd into the village to launch their boats from the shore. So this week, we strolled down to the shore of Lobster Bay and checked out a village house right on the water. The space and fresh air has drawn many expats here. 50% of the residents are expats. Frenchman Daniel bought a waterfront house in Shung Si Wan village 12 years ago.
Yeah, it's because I like the sea and because it's close to Hang Hao, close to the city, but still very peaceful to calm down. So it's good life-work balance.
He found the houses offered very good value for money.
So it's a more reasonable pricing. Yeah, we look around, but it was not affordable. So I don't know what's the value today, but I think New Territory is still more cheap than Hong Kong Island, for example. I think you can compare this place with Stanley.
Daniel and his wife can swim at the 2 beaches in Clearwater Bay or hike through the hills that loom above the village.
You see here, this is a very nice mountain, and over there you have the Hai Cheng Peak. This is most of the leisure time.
But he warns buyers Shung Si Wan village isn't as tranquil as one might expect. Its popularity for water sports has attracted crowds during the weekends, eager to rent kayaks and other equipment.
It's still quiet in the evening, but during daytime, every day we have around, I would say, 500, 700 people enjoying the water sport. And but it's as you just saw, we have a lot of cars and taxis, and I think we have around 50 taxis per day in such small street like you see here. We have an accident because from the car is bumping in.
We left Shung Si Wan and took a look through another spot, the more unspoiled Tai Hang Hao village. There are about 100 houses in this village and only 8 are sitting near Lobster Bay. 30 houses are currently on the market for sale. The price ranges from $22 million to more than $125 million, depending on the quality of the house and the location in the village. This 3-story beachfront village house is sitting on the corner of Lobster Bay. The size is 2,100 square feet. It also comes with a garden and 2 parking spaces. Asking price is $125 million, or just over $57,000 per square foot, the high end of the range.
If you take this house, this piece of land, this view, and this privacy, let's put it, let's say, for example, you put it on the south side, it's probably would be double the asking price. If you get the full detached houses up in the peak, you've seen some of the transaction. They've been going around for about 500 million to 800 million.
Originally, it was a typical village house with 3 flats. The owner, an English architect and designer, bought the house and renovated it as his dream home. First, we checked out the ground floor.
Alice, come on into the house. I want to show you this 2,100 square foot house that's basically sitting on a plot of land that's about 5,000 square foot when he bought it in about 2000.
But this space looked very huge. Does it look like 1,000 square foot?
It looks bigger because the owner renovated the whole entire floor. Basically, he took down some of the walls to open up everything there's a connection to from the kitchen, dining area, and the living room, as well as to the outdoor area.
Mr. Mok, how big is this outdoor space?
This is approximately 3,000 square foot. It's all indeed the grass area, the pool, as well as the barbecue area and the dining area. You got to have a lot of guests over because it has the sun deck, the hammock, and as well as a sitting area. I mean, you could have over 20 people to enjoy this whole area.
The garden and swimming pool overlook Lobster Bay Beach.
Unblocked, no one's in front of you. I mean, this is very private. You're buying the privacy as well as this infinity pool.
What do you mean infinity pool?
Well, when you step inside and your head is above the water and you look outside, you feel like you're connected to the ocean.
The beach is a 10-second walk from the house.
This is a corner house. It's surrounded by a hillside, and the next door neighbor is a few hundred feet away, and there's no one behind you, and there's nothing in front of you except the sea view.
Next, we checked the layout upstairs.
Alice, let's come up to the first floor area. We can see what's up here.
There's so many bicycles here.
Yeah, the owner's he's a bicycle enthusiast. He likes to ride around the whole area out here with his family.
But can it turn into a family room?
Originally, it is a family room. I mean, you could put a 3-seater and a 2-seater, as well as you got the TV, the audios, and everything else in this room.
The absence of a corridor makes the space more efficient. 2 bedrooms are on the other side, both 150 square feet and overlooking the garden and the sea. A double bed, wardrobe, and piano can fit in easily. They all have floor-to-ceiling windows that allows plenty of light into the room. There's a balcony outside each bedroom. Next, we went to the 700 square foot top floor to check its design.
Hey, Mr. Mok, what's up there?
This is the entire master's ensuite.
This a home office?
Yes, this used to be a bedroom here. Now it's turned into a home office.
The home office is about 200 square feet and makes working from home convenient, particularly during the pandemic. The owner enlarged the living area by removing the wall between the home office and the sleeping area.
Then you say there is an ensuite. This is an ensuite master bedroom. Where's the toilet?
Good question. It's right behind us. It's totally open. Come on in. Has a dual basin, his and hers, the toilet area, the sitting bathtub.
Hey, what's that?
Oh, surprisingly, he built a stand-up shower right in the middle.
Is a shower?
Yes.
You must be joking.
No, it's very open. I mean, it's very spacious. I mean, where else in Hong Kong do you see a large shower space?
Then would the water spill over to the bed?
No, because it's elevated a little bit, and he did a great job. It's perfectly where all the water is just drained right in the middle.
The original bathroom was converted into a sizable walk-in closet. The room has a large window and an open sea view. It also has a balcony outside. For those who enjoy the countryside, the location offers quick access to the country park. It's also close to the seafood restaurants of historic Po Toi O Village. The house is a bit far from Clearwater Bay Road. If you don't drive, it's 30 minutes to walk to the nearest bus stop and another 20 minutes to reach the MTR in Hang Hau Town. Mok says the house will appeal to a very particular market segment.
Are the people that basically, they're just tired of living in a regular high-rise. It's probably for someone who's got an established career. They build up a nice saving, and they have a dream. They want a piece of land a house, they can basically retrofit it to their taste.
Surveyor Vincent Jung says it won't be easy to find a buyer.
In the past 5 years, actually there are once a large transactions with a unit price which is more than 40,000 Hong Kong dollars per square foot. And all these transactions are over 100 million in terms of the consideration. So you can see there are much transactions. They do have quite a lot of choices in the market.
Who would have thought recycling bins would attract museum visitors? But here in St. Petersburg, in Russia, waste not, want not has been embraced. Many people recognize the different colored containers to separate waste collection and improve recycling. But this exhibition at the Pro Waste Museum tells the whole story of what happens to people's waste after it's collected. Visitors get to experience the stages of the waste cycle, from the moment it goes into the bin to its upcycled result, a finished product. They also see that a lot of waste still goes to a landfill. The museum's goal is to help people act more responsibly and waste less. In 2014, the World Bank commissioned a report about Russia's waste problem. The report said only 5 to 7% of the waste was being recycled, with more than 90% of it going into landfills and unauthorized dumps. The mission of the project has been kept as simple as possible. Waste is not waste, but a resource, raw material for making useful products. For example, 3D printed furniture, paper, household items, and more. It wants to popularize separation to make sure the resources can be used for recycling, and even to be used to produce art. In many ways, it is a return to the Soviet era when knowledge of recycling was stronger. These Soviet posters called on people to collect and hand over waste paper for recycling, urged them to go to the store with a string bag instead of a disposable plastic one. People are asked to hand over glass jars and bottles for recycling. The 3-story museum building is in fact a product of recycling from 24 shipping containers that can be disassembled and moved to other locations.
That's the show. Thanks for watching. Next time on Money Matters, we take a break from our trek through Hong Kong's property market to ask some analysts for their forecast for the second half of the year. See you then. Good night.